day. Welcome to another episode of Throwing It Back with Sean Farrell. I am Sean Farrell. God is great all the time. All the time, God is great. Jesus Christ died and he rose again. Let's get into it. So, there were two occasions where Don Nelson's mouth and Don Nelson's strategy got him into trouble. They got him into trouble in 1986 and it got him in trouble in 1994. Okay? So let's start with 1986. The Celtics had only lost one game in the first two rounds of the playoffs, leading up to the Eastern Conference Finals. And the 76ers, the Bucks were coming off a 7-game series win over the Philadelphia 76ers, okay? And so Don Nelson liked to needle the Celtics. He said stuff like Danny Ainge was a dirty player or whatnot. But it was something that he said that got him in trouble, especially with Robert Parrish. Don Nelson said he was a better coach than K.C. Jones, and he said he was a smarter coach than K.C. Jones. So Don Nelson said he's a better coach than K.C. Jones, and he's smarter than K.C. Jones. So what you're trying to say is this. The greatest team of all time in the 86 Celtics. You think you're smarter than K.C. Jones? Really? And that just pissed off Robert Parrish. That pissed off Robert Parrish. And Robert Parrish said he was going to go at Milwaukee hard. Okay? And I think it was apparent that the entire Celtics team, that pissed off the entire Celtics team, okay? And I think it showed in game one because the Celtics blew the doors off the Bucks in game one, 128-96. In case you didn't hear me again. The Celtics blew the doors off the Bucks in game one, 128-96. Okay, so Don Nelson's mouth got him in trouble in game one. And it got him in trouble for the entire series because the Celtics ended up sweeping the Bucks in 4 straight. So, yeah. Not a good thing to question the greatest team of all time. Not a good thing to question the coach of the greatest team of all time in the 86 Celtics. Okay, not a good idea. You want to know what else is not a good idea? Having a bad strategy for dealing with Charles Barkley. Let's fast forward to 1994. Okay, Don Nelson's coaching the Warriors, and the Warriors were a 6 seed. The Phoenix Suns were the 3 seed. Phoenix won the first 2 games, and Don Nelson's strategy for handling Charles Barkley was not working. Okay. And so I just said that Don Nelson's mouth got him in trouble with the Boston Celtics in 86. Well, it was Don Nelson's strategy that got him in trouble in the 1994 NBA playoffs.
Who has a big night, and they'll say, look, I really didn't feel it in the bullpen beforehand, didn't feel like I had my great stuff, and he throws a one-hitter. Is there any way to foretell a 56-point night?
No. First of all, that wasn't my best game. That was the night I scored.
Excuse me. Best numbers.
No, that was the best. No, I'm saying that was
best numbers.
That was the most points I scored in the game. But I actually personally think Game 7 to get to the finals is the best game I ever played. I had 44 and 24. That was actually the game against the Warriors was only a first round playoff game, but to get to the finals, I remember it was Game 7s are no joke. But to get to the finals for my first time and to score 44 and 24, that's the best game I ever played. The game against C. Webb and those guys was just revenge.
That was by Byron Houston. We told Coach, don't let Byron Houston check the check. Like, no, he's strong. Like, he's 6'1". Don't let him check Big Chuck.
Because that game was so funny because I remember
Byron Houston.
and I remember I went to the bench and I says, "You're not gonna double me." He said, nope. Because I had a triple-double. I think that was game 3. So I had a triple-double game 1. I had about 8 assists in game 2. So Nelly says, we're not going to double you tonight. I says, you're not? So I scored like 17 points in the first quarter. So I run over again. I said, let me ask you, you're not going to double me. He says, you can get as many as you want. I said, okay.
You know, when we looked at that video of you,
See that? See that? See? Don Nelson's mouth got him in trouble versus the Celtics, and it was his strategy in the 1994 NBA playoffs that got him swept both times. I might add. So, lesson: don't run your mouth about the greatest NBA team of all time, and don't have a bad strategy when you're dealing with one of the best players ever to play in the NBA. Okay, just a thought. Anyway, John Stockton. So, John Stockton talks about the final shot of the 1998 NBA Finals, where he hooked the 3 and missed, which clinched the Bulls championship. So, Stockton recently talked about that. He said, the last one, I had a good look at it. I don't think you ever hear anybody shoot the last shot and say they didn't think it was going in. I certainly did. Okay? So, Brian Russell inbounded a pass to Stockton. He got a pick from Antoine Carr, got a pick from Malone, and he shot out the 3-pointer, and it was off. Here's the thing about how that. This is gonna blow your minds. That wasn't even the play that Jerry Sloan drew up in the huddle. John Stockton admits it. John Stockton says he did not follow the play that Jerry Sloan drew up in the huddle. Okay? So Stockton also went on to say, it's an option. It doesn't have to be where it comes from. I felt confident shooting it. I think most guys felt comfortable with the shot, although I didn't ask them. I didn't poll anybody. It just didn't go in. Okay? So Jerry Sloan had his to say, rest in peace. And I think he probably said this after the game. He likely said this after the game. We were just trying to get a shot. That's a very difficult thing to do against this team with a number of seconds on the clock. I thought we did a very poor job of executing the play that we drew up. Obviously, they did a good job of trying to force us out on the floor a little farther. Okay. So, which brings me to the subject of Ron Harper. Okay. So, before Stockton took the final shot, the Bulls, Phil Jackson and the other Bulls coaches, they were talking about the possibility of the Jazz running the same play that beat the Rockets the previous year in the Western Conference Finals. The play where they inbounded the ball to Stockton, takes a couple of dribbles, swish, nothing but net, and let him in the haste of Rockets. Okay? So that was a possibility. And that was relayed to Ron Harper. Okay? Only thing about it is they inbounded the ball to Stockton last year in Houston. Nobody got up on him. They inbounded the ball to Harper. They inbounded the ball to Stockton, right? And then Harper is right there on him. Okay. So he's being guarded by Ron Harper. And he takes a shot. Bob Costas notices that Harper gets a piece of the ball. Okay? Harper gets a piece of the ball. And the shot is long. Okay? And Ron Harper, I saw all this where he talked about it. He said where someone had talked about the Bulls coaches about the Jazz possibly running the same play, and then Harper went like, "I know it helps to be prepared, right?" So Isiah Thomas kept mentioning this during Game 6 too. Okay, Isiah Thomas noticed that Jordan, when he was on a scoring roll in the second quarter, Isiah Thomas was like, Jazz need to watch out. He's in a nice rhythm. Everything is coming easy to him. They need to watch out because this could be a 40-point game from him. Okay. And so Isiah Thomas brought it up again. He said, Isiah Thomas is like, see, he's headed for 40. I would start double teaming him right now. Isiah Thomas kept saying that during the broadcast. And then he brought it up again. He said, you got to take the ball out of his hands and make either Harper or Pippen beat you from the field. Okay. And then when Jordan hit the last shot, Isiah Thomas said it again. He said, at the end of the game, you got to get the ball out of his hands. He's beaten you so many times. You watch Jordan play, Doug, and you know at the end of the game, he's a killer. So Isiah Thomas kept saying it. Isiah Thomas is like, Utah needs to double team him. Get the ball out of his hands, right? Nah. And I think another point Isiah brought up, he noticed that, Scottie Pippen had a bad back. They threw the ball to Scottie Pippen earlier in the game, and he dunked it. And when he dunked it, he hurt his back. Okay. So Scottie was playing with a bad back. The rest of the game 6. Okay. And Isiah Thomas noticed that they had Antoine Carr on him. Okay. And he noticed that Utah was letting Scottie Pippen rest on defense. He noticed that. So then he said, Bob, Utah is letting Scottie Pippen rest. He's trying to guard Antoine Carr, and Antoine Carr has a big advantage. He's trying to guard Antoine Carr with a bad back. Antoine Carr has a big advantage, and I would start going at Pippen. Nah, but I guess no. They didn't hear Isiah Thomas. I guess, yeah. You can't hear what the broadcasters are saying when the benches are over there and the broadcasters are like way over here across the court. But yeah, Isiah Thomas. Notice that the Jazz, they were letting Scottie Pippen rest on defense. And they never went to Antoine Carr. And so I just thought that was some interesting observations Isiah Thomas made during game 6. All right. That's it. And that's all for Throwing It Back with Sean Farrell. I am Sean Farrell. I'm out of here. God bless. Peace out.
They swat at it and steal it. Here comes Chicago. 17 seconds. 17 seconds from Game 7 or from championship number 6. Jordan open. Chicago with the lead.
He gets Brian Russell with a quick crossover. Look at Brian Russell slips, and Michael pulls up and buries the shot to give him a 1-point lead.
That may have been. Who knows what will unfold in the next NBA.
Watch Jordan's left hand here as he gives Russell the push. The referee can't see that. Jordan frees himself up for a clean look. The greatest thing about Jordan is he has